Welcome back to Supplement Guru, the place where science puts its gloves on, street smarts light the fuse, and you're not just aging, you're upgrading. Today, we're diving deep into the so-called longevity wonder drug that's got Silicon Valley biohackers whispering, doctors debating, and gym rats confused. Metformin. You've heard the hype. But is this molecule actually a backstage pass to the centenarian club? Or is it just glorified prescription placebo? Let's tear it apart. Imagine this. A 60-year-old tech billionaire sips his matcha, microdoses psilocybin, then downs a metformin tab like it's the fountain of youth distilled into a chalky pill. You laugh, but this isn't fiction. From Harvard researchers to anti-aging startups, metformin is getting more love than creatine at a bodybuilding convention. But here's the twist. It's not new. This molecule is older than Instagram, Bitcoin, and the term biohacking combined. Metformin has been used for over 60 years to treat type 2 diabetes. It comes from a plant, French lilac, used since medieval times. The OGs knew something. But it wasn't until researchers realized it activates AMPK, your body's cellular energy thermostat, that it lit up the longevity radar. AMPK ramps up autophagy, improves insulin sensitivity, and mimics the effects of calorie restriction. All things associated with longer lifespan in everything from worms to primates. Sounds good so far, right? But here's where the story gets spicy. Metformin doesn't just tickle your mitochondria, it slaps them awake. It tells your liver to stop flooding the bloodstream with glucose. It nudges cells into survival mode. And when cells fight to survive, they adapt, repair, and extend their lifespan. That's why animal studies showed increased longevity, especially in males. But hold that dopamine rush. That dopamine rush? Yeah, that's where the narrative sells, but biology calls BS. Because what works in C. elegans in a Petri dish doesn't always translate to 200-pound humans who deadlift and metabolize stress like coffee. Translational medicine is a minefield. You're not a lab rat. You're a complex, hormonal, meat-powered optimization machine. So while the molecule looks magical on paper, we have to ask, does it perform under real-world pressure? This is where the hype train loses a wheel. Just as biohackers were singing metformin's praises, some bombshell data dropped. Turns out, this anti-aging darling may also blunt the very adaptations we want from resistance training. One study in older adults showed that combining metformin with exercise reduced muscle hypertrophy compared to exercise alone. Yeah, it potentially sabotages your gains. Why? The same AMPK activation that mimics fasting may interfere with mTOR, your anabolic command center. And if you've watched my other videos, you know mTOR is the godfather when it comes to building lean muscle. You suppress it too much, and suddenly your workouts are delivering less ROI than a crypto scam. So now we have a dilemma. Are we trying to live longer or live better? Let's be real. What's the point of adding 10 years to your life if you spend them weak, frail, and chronically low T? That's not bio-optimization. That's just slow-motion decay. The goal isn't just lifespan, it's healthspan, function, strength, mental sharpness, and that's where metformin gets complicated. Healthspan means you don't just exist, you dominate. You wake up sharp, move with power, recover like a mutant, and stay hard to kill well into your 70s. That requires strategic stress, not blunt suppression. And this is where metformin can confuse the mission. Too much suppression of anabolic signaling, and you're trading vitality for theoretical longevity. That's not the upgrade we're after. Some longevity scientists suggest a cycling protocol, using metformin only on rest days, or avoiding it altogether around intense training blocks. Others are experimenting with pairing it with rapamycin to offset the mTOR suppression, while still harvesting autophagy benefits. But we're still in early days. Human data is limited, nuanced, and, let's be honest, subject to bias and hype. So what should you actually do? First, take a hard look at your baseline. Are you insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, chronically inflamed? If so, metformin could be a useful tool. It's not a silver bullet, but it might lower disease risk markers. But if you're lean, metabolically healthy, training hard, and chasing max muscle retention into old age, you need to think twice. If you're still watching, you're part of the 1%, the elite few actually optimizing instead of just consuming. So here's your mid-video mission. Like this video, drop a comment with your take on metformin, and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. That's how we keep the algorithm fed, and this channel growing faster than your VO2 max on NMN. Quick side note. This is why personalization is non-negotiable. You can't copy the protocol of some shredded 48-year-old VC who eats sardines and bench presses startups. Your glucose curve, training load, genetics, and goals are your fingerprint. And if your protocol isn't custom fit, you're just cosplaying optimization. Real results come from tailored action. That's what separates the warriors from the wannabes. All right, back to the molecule. There's another layer worth discussing: cancer prevention. Some data suggests metformin reduces the risk of several types of cancer, possibly due to its effects on insulin and IGF-1 signaling. High insulin can act like rocket fuel for tumor growth. Metformin reins that in. It's not chemo, but it may shift the internal terrain toward disease resistance. Then, there's cognitive health. Some rodent studies hinted at improved neurogenesis and reduced inflammation in the brain. But in humans? Still inconclusive. Some folks report better mental clarity on it, others the opposite. You'll hear anecdotes on both sides. And you know the supplement guru's stance. Anecdotes are not data, but they do make good YouTube comments. So where does this leave us? Metformin is powerful, but it's not a free lunch. The trade-offs are real, especially for high performers. If you're training hard, lifting heavy, optimizing hormones, and already low on inflammation, you might be pulling on a rope that's already tight. But if you're dealing with elevated glucose, belly fat, sluggish recovery, or a family history of diabetes, it might be your biochemical ally. In other words, context is king. You're not just popping pills, you're designing a system. And every molecule you introduce should amplify that system, not conflict with your goals. Metformin is a scalpel, not a hammer. Use it wisely, or not at all. Before we close this chapter, let's make one thing clear. You don't need metformin to age like a beast. You need discipline, a dialed-in stack, smart training, deep sleep, and zero tolerance for mediocrity. That's what we're building here. Whether you take metformin or toss it in the trash, the mission stays the same. Maximize the quality and power of every year you're given. So if you're thinking of adding metformin to your stack, don't just ask, will this help me live longer? Ask, will this make me harder to kill, stronger under load, sharper under pressure? Because those are the metrics that matter. You're not here to float through life on low insulin. You're here to dominate. Anything less is a distraction in a white coat. So if you want help dialing in your stack, tracking your progress, and staying sharp in the chaos, grab the Supplement Guru app. It's your daily coach, your digital chemist, and your accountability partner all in one. We built it for warriors, not wanderers. And one last thing, don't forget to subscribe. We've got more deep dives coming. This isn't just content, it's a curriculum for the high performers of the future. And if you're watching this, you're already one of them. Stay sharp, stay unbreakable. Supplement Guru out.